What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what really moved it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close 2.72% in the green, 1752 the low, 1829 the high, and a fair amount of volume. So 66.8 million shares being traded, 69 is the average. So ultimately today, it did stay within a set range. So I'm going to go over that once I go over the technicals and so forth. But during the pre-market, you had somewhat iffy. So you had the market pulling back only because we didn't really necessarily know how to interpret the data. So we had this right over here. So the ADP employment coming in at negative 33,000 versus a forecast of 90. Normally, just to justify rate cuts, the market likes to have minor misses. Again, to justify rate cuts and whatever else, but this was a horrific miss. So this is why during the pre-market, we didn't really know how to interpret that bad of a miss. But nonetheless, the market did kind of take it all as a positive. Ultimately, even assuming now there's a 25.3% likelihood of a cut for the July 30th meeting, even though Powell pretty much 2 days ago said otherwise. But market seems to be hell-bent on wanting a rate cut, and that would be huge for, of course, growth stocks, SoFi, and everyone and their dog. So at the end of the day, that was a pretty good thing. In addition to that, the States and Vietnam did sign a deal for the tariff. So it is 20% one way, 0% the other. Very beneficial for the States. So that was more of a win-win. That did largely affect a lot of the manufacturers in that region. Aside from that, didn't really affect SoFi. It was already moving up at that time. I don't think it really helped at all. So that's just my opinion. Specific to SoFi today, though, no news, no SEC filings or anything along those lines. The only thing I wanted to bring up was posted by Tanner. So it looks like there was some updates to the S&P inclusion. And so ultimately, SoFi does, based on the market cap, meet the mid-cap 400 kind of section. So it was previously 7.4 billion to 20.5 billion. And then now, effective July the 1st, it is going to be between 8 to 22.7 billion. So that's to be included in the mid-cap 400. So SoFi's market cap currently is roughly about 19.5. Depending on which platform you use, it's going to show different numbers sometimes, but roughly 19.5. So essentially does qualify for the mid cap, the 400. So it's just the matter of time before it does get included. Most likely next time will be in September. So September and then December, they'll be doing some re-rating and so forth. So assuming SoFi is able to hold these levels or even move up slightly to kind of that 22.7, then this is where, again, inclusion will be huge, a nice good catalyst for SoFi, because that would increase the level of liquidity. A lot more ETFs and institutions would be buying SoFi as a byproduct of that. So I think everyone and their dog would be happy about that, except shorts. So today, shorts did return 117,000 shares, breaking their 4-day trend. So for the last 4 days, they've been doing nothing but increasing. Some higher days, some lower days, but nonetheless still increasing. Them returning today is kind of, in my opinion, them admitting defeat, because SoFi over the last, 1 month is up 37.84%. So they have been absolutely getting their asses handed to them. And of course, even the broader market's been going up a substantial amount. So I think today was them just starting to mitigate some risk. And as I said already in previous videos, typically for long weekends, shorts like to return. So most likely that could also be what happens tomorrow. But 13.74% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 149.05 million shares. Cost to borrow minimum is back at being positive. Moving over to the options, we did see a good amount, not to the same magnitude as the last couple of days, but 26 million in calls, 3.9 in puts. 45% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. So even though SoFi has been running up, there still is a good consensus for it to continue to move higher. Aside from that, though, looking at the bulls, there is a consensus for it to be above that $20 range for this week. So Tomorrow is the last trading day for this week. So tomorrow, the bulls are anticipating a hell of a run for tomorrow. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 1750. So with us where we closed, there's definitely a lot more upside anticipated. And like I said, with tomorrow being equivalently the Friday, because July the 4th and so forth, this is the open interest. So just take note of that. So you have roughly 9,000 at that 17, 4,000 at 1750. 13,000 at 18, 14,000 at 1850, 20,000 at 19, and then 29,000 at that 20. So for whatever reason, best case scenario, if SoFi is able to close above $20 tomorrow, then this is where things could get very real very fast. Not only would you have a nice gamma squeeze, but then shorts would equally get screwed as a kind of byproduct of all that. So something to keep in mind. And even forward looking into next week, you have 82,000 at that 1650. So again, if SoFi is able to close above that next week, then this is where things could get very real very fast. Aside from all that fun stuff though, a lot of big transactions occurring on the secondary market and also the dark pool. So a lot of big buying throughout the week. First thing, this is what caused a little bit of uncertainty. So you had a string of selling right here, but it was very quickly bought up, both on the secondary market and also the dark pool. With it closing at 1812, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So like I said at the beginning, it kind of traded within a set range. So 1754 is a strong support, and it kind of bounced off of that as far as the low for today, 1752. And then for the high, 1822, or that was kind of the next strong point. Bounce off of that for the high. So ultimately 1822 is going to be that key level to watch for it to get over tomorrow, and then 1932 will be the following resistance point. Aside from all that, no new analyst ratings, no articles, nothing along those lines really coming out. I think just a lot of articles coming out about Robinhood and what they've been doing. So they officially did hit triple digit, which should be coming hopefully in the next, I'd assume, late 2026. That's most likely where I would feel SoFi could hit that. Again, if everything goes according to plan and whatever else. So let me know your viewpoint. When do you feel SoFi could be hitting triple digit? Do you think it's going to be sometime this decade, or do you think it's going to be, what's your kind of thoughts on all that? Like I said, I feel maybe late 2026 or first half of 2027 is when it realistically should hit that. Aside from all of that though, on the actual chart, as I brought up in the past, there's not really much negatives to bring up about this. You are literally seeing FOMO play out. Stochastic RSI though, it is a little bit overdone. So that's kind of the only negative. And this is why even on last Friday, when Canada and the States kind of had that little bit of a disagreement, even this morning, market didn't really know how to digest the recent data. You have a lot of volatility within SoFi and as well as just the broader market. And that's just simply because it is overbought. So you're going to see those volatile kind of swings. So if you believe in SoFi bigger picture, take advantage, buy the dip, do what you need to do, or just all cost average, all whatever floats your boat is a good way to invest. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Where do you see things going based on the bulls from the options? Do you think $20 is feasible this week, or do you think it's just gonna kind of go lower? What's your general thoughts? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.